Deputy Tommy Broughan.
To support this motion, and I want to commend Deputy McGrath for bringing it forward. I think anybody who's served as a director of a company knows how, particularly over the last maybe 10 or 15 years, how insurance costs have escalated and made it more difficult for us to, to employ people and to defray the kind of basic costs of running any kind of business in the community or in the commercial sector. And I think the objectives of the motion are particularly noteworthy. The National Claims Information Database, inclusive of public liability and employer liability, to legally obliging insurance companies to notify policyholders of claims made against them as claims are made. And you'd think that would be just something that would have been standard, basically, in statute law for a long time, Minister. And of course, looking at the Book of Quantum, the PAIB, we've had so many discussions indeed about the Book of Quantum. Asking a dedicated Garda fraud unit, and of course insurance fraud unit funded of course by this Oireachtas and by our budget. So I think those and the other aims of Deputy McGrath's bill are, they simply should be implemented. And I also want to commend Sinn Féin for their amendment, which asks insurance companies to reduce premiums in conjunction as we introduce these reforms. But I think, Minister, you'll agree, and I know you were speaking on this matter yesterday, that it's almost like Groundhog Day in this Dáil when it comes to insurance, because you just think on the 21st of March last year, almost exactly a year's anniversary, we again debated a Fianna Fáil motion, a Sinn Féin amendment, which called for the 15 action points in the cost of the Insurance Working Group's report on employer and public liability to be tackled. To get on with it and to simply do it would have obliged insurers to provide a breakdown of the premium cost to the business, give us more information, and ensuring that the PIAB, the Book of Quantum, at long last will be updated at the latest once every 3 years. So we kind of think we're going around in circles here with this government. Of course, last year's motion also called for the deadline for the feasibility study on including employer liability and public liability data on the National Claims Information Database to be brought forward from the fourth quarter of 2019. Perhaps the Minister might address that specific point. I mean, where are we at in relation to, or maybe you did already, I didn't get a chance to read your introductory speech, but the National Claims Information Database, and obviously to work towards creating a single European market. I mean, on all sides of the House, we've often said, and we've just had a discussion downstairs, Cian, in the Budget Committee on the European semester with the European Commission, where we're always talking about we get some of the downsides of European membership, but why don't we get some more of the upsides? And I know Deputy McGrath has been consistently asking for in relation to interest rates and mortgage rates and so on, but also indeed in insurance. And of course, we also called exactly a year ago for the Department of Finance and the CSO to report on the creation of a price index for employer and public liability insurance premiums, and colleagues have spoken about that earlier on very eloquently. Minister, why have all these measures? Why has another year gone by and insurance costs keep escalating, issues to do with databases, Book of Quantum fraud and so on? Why haven't you simply, addressed them? It kind of reminds me, I think it is a bit of a hallmark of this government. We've Ministers Murphy, Ministers Broughan, announcing kind of grandiose plans, whether it's for climate change, housing, education and so on, but we don't see any action. We don't see the delivery of the very first action. So it would be better to take one or two of these measures that the motion calls on, Minister, and to actually progress them. I think you should be working with your coalition partners, with Fianna Fáil, to bring forward real action on this, because obviously we're in many respects the whole House is ad idem that we need to address these problems in the insurance industry, and particularly on how it impacts on our constituents. And I noticed there were reports towards the end of 2016 that insurance fraudsters from the UK were coming to Ireland to cheat the system, and because they would get much higher claim payouts than the UK. I think again colleagues have rightly referred to this, we had a particular case I think in that era when the Book of Quantum payment in Ireland for a broken femur was over 300% higher than the UK award. And of course you look at the Book of Quantum again, the awards for whiplash, For minor injuries, anything from 16,000 to 20,000 euros. Moderate injuries, 20,000 to 30,000. Moderately severe, 30,000 to 52,000 euros. The severe and permanent whiplash injuries are between 44,000 and 78,000. So it's quite clear that the book of quantum has to be addressed, and I think that's something many deputies have been saying for years and years. And of course, we always find, Lascan, that there's very little appetite from the legal profession to introduce and implement the reforms needed. Indeed, it could be said that some close friends of the legal profession over in the Shannon Éireann are holding up much-needed reform of the judicial appointment system. But the legal costs associated with claims, of course, is a particular problem. We do need urgent reform in this whole area. We also know, of course, that the profitability of insurance companies is very, very high. I think at the beginning of March this year, it was reported that the main insurance companies in the country made over 200 million in profit. Chambers Ireland, which briefs us very regularly about business matters, they published a cost of insurance survey in August-September 2 years ago, 2017, which showed that 43% of respondents had an increase of between 5 and 20% in their premiums. Some reported an increase, of course, of 50 to 100%. Others said they'd increase of more than 100% in their premiums. So this is the actual bills that you're faced with from your accountant or your auditor year on year, and it is a huge deterrent, in fact, to having an efficient and a progressive business. And of course, the brokers justify those increases at the time. Chambers Ireland tells us on market conditions and overall increase in claims. But there's a huge dearth in information. I mean, I think the information gap in this sector, Minister, is what people really upsets people most of all. And some of the data I know available from CSO and the PIAB, Personal Injuries Assessment Board, is valuable, and it was deduced, I think, between January 2011 to July 2016 that insurance costs generally rose by 57%, and that approximately 42% of non-motor PIAB applications are in relation to employer liability insurance and public liability insurance, with an increase of 15 and 20% respectively, in a situation in Ireland where we were in severe recession.
Fitzmaurice, 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's grand. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but I'm delighted. Yeah, so just say warmly support the motion and the amendment. Thanks, Ken.